Hey everyone, welcome to the weekend edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, the crew of characters we have, Charlie Cook of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. We have Mike Piwowarski of The Rundown and Arms Room Radio. And our guest this weekend, Rick Ector, Rick's Firearms Academy of Detroit. And the website is Legally Armed in Detroit, and do not ever abbreviate that and try to pull up a website. Trust me, not a good idea. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this weekend.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Always happy to be here.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
I want to start the show off today. I want to start off with Rick. Rick, coming up this July, you recently started the planning stages for it, and I'm happy to say I'm going to be a part of it, along with my beautiful wife, Susan, is going to be a part of it this year. Every year you have a big event where you introduce women to the firearms community, you introduce women to shooting, and you started off, this is what, the 6th or 7th iteration of this event. And it's this is the 10th year. Is that right?
No, it's the 11th year, but the 10th iteration.
Okay, so you this is the 11th year, 10th go around, and you've grown this thing. It's now into the thousands of women every year that you introduce into shooting. And this thing has just grown. Last year, there was the COVID thing going on, and there was, we're gonna, because of COVID, we're gonna give it a pass. But from the beginning, it has doubled and doubled and doubled and doubled and doubled, and we're expecting this year just to be monstrous, right? And Rick froze. That, or he's doing a very, very good imitation of a statue. One of the two.
Paul, he has done it. I've been up there a couple of times. He's done it, like you said, 11 years. I think we did it last year, the year before, with the initial shock of COVID. It got skipped. The goal there was, 2 years ago, I think we did over 1,500 women he trained there. And he's, this is come on inside, get your safety briefing. By the way, it's no cost at all. It's all covered by donations from some of his great sponsors up there in the ranges. They take you, through a little training course. They take you through some safety, and then you come out on the line with a qualified instructor, and you get to shoot a handgun for the first time ever for most of these women. It's absolutely amazing event, and what he's done there is just a great service to the community. And the best thing about it is it's 100% apolitical. Listen, we're all the Second Amendment bashers, but this event is just safety and introducing these women to firearms to make sure they're safe in the greater Detroit area. Or listen, we've had them come from out of state also, but it's so nice to be in a firearm event where the politics are not involved, and it's really about they're exercising their Second Amendment rights.
And now it looks like Mike is freezing as well. Oh my goodness!
So they've had instructors from all over the country come to these as well. They've had instructors from California, from Washington, from Florida, from Ohio, from Illinois. They've had instructors from Massachusetts. They've had instructors from all over the country that have come to participate in Rick's free event. And I think it must have been 2019. I don't know if it was 2019 or 2020, but the record number was 1,938 women. So let's just say it's $2,000. You know what I mean? 2,000 women that went through a safety briefing, learned how to shoot a handgun, and he did this in 2 days at 2 different ranges outside of Detroit.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, I forgot about all the instructors coming from around the country. Yeah, we it's just Rick asked and we went. That's all there was to it.
Yeah, I mean, this is to me, this is a testament not just to Rick and not just to Tanisha, the woman that organizes it for him, but it really is a testament to the instructors all over the country that want to be involved in this free event for women, to teach women, which is, as we all know, it's the largest growing demographic of gun owners, and to teach them how to shoot, how to be safe, and how to take care of themselves. And it really, I've talked to so many women that say when they learn to shoot a gun, it's a feeling of empowerment because they now have this tool that they could use to possibly save their life if they need to.
And and quite a bit of them too. Whether it's the tool, for many of them, it's that first step. It takes the fear away from them, And I know Rick sees this a lot. That once that fear is gone, guess who comes back to the range again and again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And some of us like to say that the .22 is a gateway drug to freedom. But I think he has. I donated some money for ammo a couple years ago, and I think he starts everyone out on a 9mm semi-auto handgun.
Yeah, it's all 9mm. It's usually whatever guns the Rangers has. It's mostly Glocks. I think we've missed a couple of Stigs in there, but it's all tailored fit for the woman that's in there, and it's a really great event, and it's crowded every time. Last year they were going for a record number, but it was like they scheduled, I think, a NASCAR race on top of it, and it was a rainy weekend, and the numbers just didn't get there. But like you said, 1938 is a great number, and listen, if Rick decides he's going to beat that number, he'll beat that number.
Oh, absolutely. And you can certainly attest to how many instructors was there, but it's everybody gets like 7 or 8 minutes or so to go through after they go through the safety briefing to go through a couple of magazines.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the goal. I mean, if Rick's going to get those numbers through, it's got to be 7 to 8. And listen, as an instructor, like we all are, you want to spend more time, but you've got to you never shortcut safety, but you shortcut the whole lesson. Listen, our goal here is to get her familiar with the firearm in the hand, then put 1 round through, then maybe 2, then maybe a full mag, and you're done. Take the suppose to take a picture with your target and take it home with you.
With your target.
And and they can't wait. And they can't wait to come back.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I wanted to go last year, however, I had medical issues that prevented it, and this year everything is I've got the green light and everything is set to go. I'm actually going to be bringing. I've got a small studio set up. I've got one last piece that arrived this week that'll allow me to do everything I'm doing here right now mobile, and so I'll be able to broadcast from there, and I am just so looking forward to being able to go and participate and help out and be able to do broadcasts from there this coming July. And if you're in the website, there is a website for it. I was hoping to ask Rick, do either of you gentlemen know what the website is for this?
Let me look. Let me see what I can dig up.
Is it diversityshoot.com?
I think it is.
Nope,
I think.
Nope. Diversity Shoot is Anthony. It's Tony Simon.
Yeah.
Okay. It's under Rick's name.
I'm
that's why I said it.
If you go to legallyarmedindetroit.com, that's Rick's website, and you'll find out all the information. Looks like everything is there. Everything about Rick, all things Rick Ector, are legallyarmedindetroit.com. I'm not sure if there's another website specifically for the ladies event.
I think that usually pops up on the Facebook. I know Rick said that should be coming up in the next couple days to week, so we should see that soon and start getting pushed out. How about that name, Legally Armed in Detroit? How long do you think he's not on right now, so we can make fun of him? How long do you think it took him to come up with that? Do you think he had the name? Do you think he had the name first and just work backward from there? Just
could very well be.
I think it's like subliminal messaging. I think that's what it is.
I tried to do one in the Orlando area. It just didn't work out, because come get Leao with Mike. It didn't work.
Yeah. No. let's do this because Rick's, and we'll jump back into this when Rick's back. But I do want to mention real quickly, folks, if you're watching live, you can get in on the conversation. And for some reason, the software is not picking up the Facebook comments, and I do see some comments coming in on Facebook. Ron says, "Women with guns are sexy." Can I say that? Yes, Ron, you can. I just can't put it on screen. My software is not picking it up. And John Petrolino says, "Good afternoon, Patriots." So,
good afternoon, Patriots. Yeah, we can think it, but we don't want to put it out there on the screen. Women with guns is hot.
And then let's see here. Sandhills Media. John says, "So bummed they can't go out there this year. Maybe next year." And this is a thing. I don't think this is ever going to. I think Rick. I've known Rick for several years. I met Rick going to Gun Rights Policy Conference. He's done this as long as I've known him, and I think he's going to always continue doing this. Rick's the Energizer Bunny, man. I don't think that battery's ever going to wear down. I think he's going to keep doing this. So yeah, I expect him to, as long as people keep coming and attending, I think he's going to keep doing this. So
yeah, and again, don't forget he's got his wonderful Chick-fil-A 11 assistant Tanisha that she really takes care of him. But I know it's Rick's event, but without her, it would just be the four of us sitting around shooting, I think.
Yeah. And I got to meet Tanisha when we were at the Florida Carry event last year. And there's a firecracker as well. She's got a bunch of energy herself.
Absolutely, she does.
Last thing, but I think, guys, what we should probably do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start talking about the events of the week, the news events of the week, and then when Rick comes back, we'll go ahead and we'll bring him back in, and we'll talk about his event and what's going on there, but. If you are watching, and I cannot get Facebook comments on screen this week for some reason. My software is not picking them up. But if you have a Twitter account, you can tweet with the hashtag Bullet Podcast. I'll get those and I'll put those on screen. So if you want,
don't be mean.
Yeah. No mean
tweets.
I would love to get some mean tweets from the Oval Office. That would be great. But let's
love to see anything cohesive from them.
I'm telling you, man.
Mean tweets versus incoherent tweets.
Right. Or circling back. Although I guess we're not going to be circling back after next month. So
really? She's got a new job?
Yeah, she has another job. So she's going
that's my girl, Jen, call me before you go. Hook a brother up, man.
My understanding is she's going to miss NBC. But anyway,
what's that country song? How can I miss you if you don't go away?
Yes. First story.
This is all Rick's fault. He started this off the rails.
Yes. First story I want to cover is of the week in review kind of stuff is Georgia. They did it. The legislature finally got the ducks all lined up in their own little row, and they sent permitless carry to the governor's desk. He said he's going to sign it. It's just when is it politically best for him to sign it? Georgia's going to get permitless carry. Hey, guess what? I see somebody moving in Rick's window. Do we have a Rick Ector back?
Hey, man, Murphy's Law. I can't, you know what? I really can't explain it, man. You know what? I'm glad to be back. How about that?
All right.
Well, we will stop talking bad about you now.
It doesn't matter, man. Right. Just spell my name correctly. That's all that matters. It counts in the search engine algorithm.
All right. So Rick, what we were talking about a little bit when you were frozen up there, this is what, the 11th you're planning on, and I kind of spoke for you a little bit. This is the 11th year, but this is not the final year. You're going to keep, as long as people keep doing this, it keeps showing up, you're going to keep doing this, right?
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, man. From here to infinity, right? Is that Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond?
And
Every year.
beyond.
I'm just, looking for, a means of, taking it to the next level. Every year you want to be bigger and better. Not only do I want to continue doing this thing here locally, but would like to eventually get to a point where we're talking about doing some regional, functions and events outside of the Metro Detroit area. Always looking to get better.
Taking the show on the road, baby. Rick, while you were on break, Paul and I and Charlie, I think we covered it. We covered it pretty good. The event coming up and everything. How did it get started? That's a cool story. Tell everybody how this got started.
It was approximately 11 years ago, man. I was watching my local news station, and there was I thought, a very distressing story about a woman whose body was found in the street. Obviously, she had been sexually assaulted and murdered, and I really felt bad about it. And I was just thinking to myself that, man, someone should do something about that. And I molded over for a spell, and I talked to a lot of different people. One person I talked to was my buddy Kim Blanchard, from blackmanwithagun.com fame. And one thing that came out of that was I shared with him my idea that I'd like to just offer free firearms training for women, man. And that one year, the very first year, we successfully trained 50 women. And back then, man, I was so optimistic about this event just catching off and taking off like wildfire. But we trained 50 women, and I was inexperienced at doing this. Was really good showing for time ever trying this event. But I talked with Ken, and Ken was telling me, man, stay the course. Keep growing it and see how far you can take it. And just a year ago, we had almost 2,000 women last year. Another 1,000 were added to the tally, and this year we're looking to see how far we can take it, man. Right now, I'm shooting for, I like to shoot for 2,000, man. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I mentioned while you were on break, I mentioned that Susan, my wife, and I are planning on. We're both going to be. We're taking the USCCA instructors course late this month, and we will be USCCA instructors by the time July rolls around. And we plan on helping you out in July this year. If ladies, and I want to get this, I want to stress this. You don't have to be in Detroit to take advantage of this. The ladies from anywhere, if they can get to Detroit, they can take advantage of this, right?
Man, you make it to Detroit, you will be warmly received, and that's how it's always been. We've had people drive quite a distance to get there. I haven't had anyone drive like a wild distance to get there, but we've had people come from all over the state. Even had people cross the state line from Ohio come on up. So if you can somehow make your way here, to the event, and that's assuming, of course, that you registered, and that way we'll be expecting you by name, and you will already have had, an official notification that you're on the list. We'll definitely get you trained, and we'll take you from as far as you originate.
All right, and that leads to the next. You get instructors from all over the place that come help you with this. I know that you've had people from Florida show up to help you. I know that last year you had instructors from Ohio come up and help. I'm coming from Susan and I are coming from South Dakota this year. You got instructors from all over that come help you put this thing on.
Yeah, man, and it's really cool because I really appreciate to a person every firearms instructor that comes out to the event, from wherever they come. I'm glad that they believe in this event. and that they're willing to take some time out of their busy lives to come on out to Detroit. And I truly appreciate it. It takes a lot of pieces to pull this thing together every year. And I'll tell you, a huge part of this event is the actual instructors that make this thing happen. And I truly believe that they are, the heroes of the event, man. And every year I do a job of encapsulating the event and doing an official write-up, and at least giving them their flowers by listing them in the actual roster of instructors who traveled and participated. I haven't had Charlie Cook come out yet, but I'm looking for his name to be in the roster one of these days.
Well, he's a very busy man. I mean, you have to understand that.
Charlie, you knew you weren't going to make it through this.
I was hoping we would make it through and everything would be civil, Rick, but no.
No. You were not going to get through this session unscathed. I was just waiting for the moment to right.
Attack.
But if I can, because I want to make sure that I don't forget, I want to let everyone know how they can reach out to me and be a participant, particularly firearms instructors and range safety officers. Usually I would tell people to go out to this special instructor group that I created, the 2022 organizing group, Ladies Free Shooting event. But I had this one guy, man, and he just wasn't into like reading what I was communicating. I was telling him to invite instructors to the event. He didn't read it, and he just kind of invited every woman that's on his friends list and sent them invites, and I got slammed with would-be participants to the event. And I was like, you know what? I have to prevent that from happening again. So what I'm going to do is ask for instructors to get a hold of a variety of methods. We want to connect with me and shoot me a message on Twitter. My handle is Detroit CCW, or whether it's LinkedIn, Rick Ector, RICKECTOR. If you're still on Facebook, Rick Ector. I mean, it's really, standardized. Facebook.com/Detroit CCW. The only way to mess it up is if you misspell Detroit. DETROIT.
Detroit. Got it. Okay.
CCW, right?
CCW. Yeah.
Yeah. How is CCW spelled again? Yeah.
Right.
You know what? Trust me, someone out there will find a way to flub it, mess it up, man. But again, this event, it takes a lot of hands to make this thing work. From the facilities, the 2 gun ranges involved, we donate their space. From the instructors that travel to be there, our sponsors, who donate, the firearms for the women to shoot, the ammunition, you figure 20 rounds per number of women that participate in the event. You're talking about a lot of ammunition. You're talking about hearing protection, protective eyewear. I mean, it takes a lot of things to make this thing happen. And instructors donating their time is a very huge part of that. And if I can invite you all to Detroit to participate in the event, I would definitely appreciate your assistance and welcome you with open arms.
Well, and the other thing about this is you've, at least last year, I know, you had ammunition manufacturers donate a good portion of the ammo, but it costs a significant amount of money to put this on. The ranges, again, donate the use of the range, but there's still it takes a lot of people to get this pulled together and a lot of capital to pull this together.
Yeah, it does, man. And from just the equipment, like I said, the PPE, the eyes, the ears, just And one thing I like to do too, I like to have a after event meet up at a local restaurant, man, and break bread and share a meal with all the volunteers and just all the things that it takes to pull off this event. And if there's anyone out there who would like to support the event, by all means, I invite them to reach out, and if they choose to make a donation, be warmly received. Means of doing that, you can do that through Cash App, $ Rick Ector, or if you want to reach out to me and make a contribution through PayPal, info@DetroitCCW, that'll be also warmly received. But more than anything, if you're a trained firearms instructor, range safety officer, we love to have you on site donating your skills and expertise to ensure that the women are trained properly and safely.
Very, very cool. And last thing here, and a lot of these women that are showing up, they are truly taking their very first shots. Not all of them, but some of them have never touched a firearm before, right?
In many cases, that is true. And we went through a spell fairly recently where there was literally a run on guns. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we set a record, in terms of the number of firearms that were made, particularly by first-time purchasers and particularly by women. And so we have a unique situation in which there's presumably a record number of gun owners, particularly women gun owners who have firearms. And, the next thing that should be a focus is ensuring that they get training. Presumably, there are instructors out there who, are putting on classes, and I definitely would ask that women avail those resources. But if you'd like to participate in this event, we would be more than happy to invite you to come on out. And if you've already purchased a firearm, if it's a 9mm firearm, I'll have the ammunition for you. If it's some other caliber of ammunition, you unfortunately are going to have to bring your own ammo. But, we would love to have an opportunity to show you how to safely operate that gun and receive some very good information in terms of getting you on your path to personal protection.
All right. Well, I wish I could get the Facebook comments on here, put them on the screen, but I just can't. But I've got to go over to Facebook, and Brooke, one of our Brooke Cheney, one of our, I love getting Brooke on the air. She's been on the show before, and she made a comment here about 6 minutes ago. She goes, "Wait, Charlie teaches?" So I love that. Thanks, Brooke.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's railing on my good buddy Charlie. I'm just glad that we don't have any other children that he has to chaperone during, orientation in college. But
no, I'm going to have to double my. I'm going to have to double the sessions with. I'm going to have to double the sessions with my therapist this week.
Whatever to get you here, man. Whatever it takes.
Last question, Rick, and then we really do have to move on to the news of the week. When are the dates? It's over a weekend. When are the dates this year for the event?
The date of the event is this upcoming July 30th and 31st, Saturday and Sunday of this year. I have not set up an event page for it. Typically, I set up that event page fairly close to the event, maybe a couple of weeks out. I'll probably do it earlier this year, but right now my focus is ensuring that I have adequate trained professional firearms instructor and safety officers to work the event. And I've challenged myself to put together a range safety officer training class, and a firearms instructor training class. So if there's some people out there who are looking to pick up their credentials, I'll definitely be publishing that information fairly soon. But right now, I want to, for purposes of this event, I want to make sure that everyone know that the event is a go for the 11th annual Free Women Shooting event that's going to be held in Metro Detroit. 2 particular gun ranges, Recoil Firearms and the Top Gun range over in Taylor, Michigan. It is going to be a huge event, and I'll tell you, the instructors and range safety officers who participate in the event, they receive so much out of it, you know, from a giving back to the community and helping women out. So again, it is this upcoming July 30th and 31st in Metro Detroit. I'm looking for trained, safe, conscientious firearms trainers for this event for July 30th and the 31st.
All right. And Tony Simon of Simon Says Train over on the YouTube side says, I'm looking at my schedule to ensure I don't have any 2A for Everyone diversity shoots at that time. Boy, I hope he can make it.
Oh, yeah. I would love for him to come on out. I haven't had the opportunity to work with him directly, and this would be a great opportunity for him to come on down to Detroit or come up to Detroit and hang out with us for a weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get a lot out of it. And I'll tell you, for the instructors and the RSOs that participate in the event, I mean, it's really cool to network with your peers and establish those connections, because there are a lot of people who are doing things jointly and together outside of this event to advance the cause of freedom and the Second Amendment and firearms training. So there's so many great things that come out of it. So I tell you, if you definitely want to participate, meet your fellow peers, and hang out with rock stars, you know, like Charlie Cook, who can, if he can make it, you know, it definitely would be great to take his show on the road, riding shotgun with Charlie. Would love to see him here. Would love to see you all here. Paul, you and your wife embarking on, you know, taking up training, become firearms instructors. That is a great development, man, and I'm glad that the two of you will be there. And, of course, Mike P., man. He's definitely been a force at the event the last couple of years, and I'm counting on him and my buddy Craig to come on out.
All right.
You ain't got to lie, Craig.
I think Tony and Brooke are kind of on the same page. Wait, Charlie Cook trains people? Well, you know, I know he trains cats, but people, yeah. And then
cats are the only ones that don't talk back to me.
I did get Facebook to work on the Polite Society pod, because we broadcast on Saturdays. We broadcast both on Polite Society Podcast and on SAF. I couldn't pick up SAFs, but I did get Polite Society Podcast to work. So Kevin Sona says, I believe in the event.
What does Kevin Sona say about me?
Well, he says he believes in the
He didn't
event,
know that Charlie trains.
Rick and his team even more. So.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Sona is an awesome guy, you know, and up to Detroit. He's, man. He's a great cat, man. He has a very interesting can opener, man. He takes this big, giant commando knife and just butchers the lid of a can, man. And it's quite a sight to behold. But, yeah.
He lives in the woods.
Among the Everglades?
I think
I just got a text from him.
Wasn't that we were worried about the rabid monkeys attacking us?
That's true.
I thought they were syphilitic, but you know there is that.
I just got a text from him. He said he didn't know that Charlie Cook trains. It's weird. So,
you know, I really am feeling the love. Holy moly!
All right, let's go back to the news, guys. We did talk a little bit about Georgia. They will be getting permitless carry. I want to talk, and we've got a good number of. I know Kevin Sona's watching. Florida is getting a special session of the legislature. Governor DeSantis called for a special session. One of the reasons he stated that he wanted this special session is because the legislature did not push through permitless carry, and he wants it. Is one of the reasons he stated that he wants his special session.
Let me be clear on this one, okay? We in Florida, we've got our jurisdictional, congressional boundaries and our legislative boundaries that have to be done this year. It's under law. It was a referendum from 12 years ago. It has to be done. And while this was going on, Governor DeSantis, Captain Florida, as we call him down here, was uncharacteristically quiet when it didn't pass and the session closed. So. We also saw the permitless carry or constitutional carry not be brought forward again because of a couple of rhinos that sit in the Florida Senate. So just very weird that he didn't say anything about either. Well, now that the session's closed, he pointed out, listen, by law, we must address these congressional boundaries and these legislative boundaries. Oh, and by the way, while we got the special session open, we're going to be discussing constitutional carry. And those of you that don't vote the way I want you to vote on these, we're going to have some serious talking to do about congressional districts and your congressional districts. So he literally just played 3D chess with them the past couple of months. And from out of the ashes, we arise to the chance to become the 26th or 27th constitutional carry state, depending on when it happens.
Yeah, well, I'm honestly thinking 27 because we also have Sand Hills Media watching, and I think Nebraska's going to sneak in at 26 before Florida can get to it.
Yeah, at least they can get it to their floor, right? They've got to get it around the filibuster up there with the one anti-gun legislator they have.
Yeah, that lady from Omaha. Don't get me started on her. But yeah, they've got. Yeah, and Brooke is saying, let me get this one up there. 50% of the states are now constitutional carry. That is, and what's encouraging about this, with Georgia coming on board, that means that there are more people in permitless states than there are in may issue states. There's more population that does not need a permit than people that may or may not be able to get a permit. That's what's significant to me.
Yeah, geographically, it's more than half the country, but like you said, population-wise, it'll be half the country.
Yeah. So yeah, that's we've got one thing I love to do with this show is every show, no matter whether it's the weekday edition or the weekend edition, I want good news. I want people to be encouraged by the bullet, and we've got a lot of good news coming this edition. Not only do we get, Georgia gets it, Florida's probably going to get it, Nebraska's probably going to get it, and then next story I want to talk about is SAF wins another lawsuit. This one is a First Amendment lawsuit. New Jersey tried sneaking out of a lawsuit that Defense Distributed and Second Amendment Foundation brought on First Amendment rights, dealing with 3D printed firearms, and tried to sneak out a lawsuit and bring it back to their federal district. And the 5th district just slapped them down and said, no, you're going to have to deal with it here, not in your friendly they're in the 3rd district. The 3rd district, by the way, is New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware. Yeah, that don't work so much. We're going to leave it here in the 5th district, which is Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi.
Yeah.
This
obviously, go ahead.
Go, Charlie.
I was going to say, obviously, New Jersey and Delaware aren't really free America. Pennsylvania's a little, I don't know, gun tolerant might be a good word for it.
Yeah.
In the middle.
And not that it's, yeah.
No, literally in the middle. Pittsburgh and Philly, everybody in the middle is gun friendly. They're not. This is kind of cool story. This started. This been going on for a number of years. I remember I think it was 22 attorney generals filed against Defense Unlimited there to get them to stop doing this. And when it started to not go their way, New Jersey Attorney General said, "Hold on, we want to sever ourselves. We don't want to be part of that, because it clearly looks like in Texas it's not going to go our way. So we want to take ourselves out of the lawsuit that we helped file, and rulings have already been made on. And now, like I said, the Fifth Circuit down there in Texas has said, no, because a previous judge has already ordered it to be severed, but it hasn't gone to trial yet because it's been under appeal. Now they've decided that appeal was done erroneously. So New Jersey now has to go back to Texas, and was told that New Jersey will abide by a Texas court decision when this is over with.
Loving that.
Yeah.
Take it and like it.
Yeah, that's it.
And I will not utter on the air the thought that just came to my head, but if my co-hosts ask me after we go dark, I will certainly say it. Anyway,
hopefully, as you say for the advertisement for CNJFO, hopefully it becomes less of a wasteland.
Yes. Next one is not so great, although anyway, it looks like the anti-gunners made a little bit of a minor victory. Jimenez Arms is no more. Although I gotta say, I've never been a fan of their products. I've never ever been a fan of anything made by Jimenez Arms. Although I really didn't ever want them to go out of business. The only reason they went out of arms is Jimenez Arms went out of business is because the anti-gunners say it's a Saturday night special thing. These things are showing up at crime scenes. It's because they're inexpensive, and because lower income people can afford them. And that's why they're easy to purchase, because they are not very expensive. That's why they show up.
I can remember a time when these were $25 brand new at a gun show. Jimenez, however we say it. They've been around for quite a while, and they've always been. And I'm sorry, I'm going to call it what it is. They were junk, right? People would say there's no such thing as a $25 gun, and you go, look at this one. And it would be a Jimenez. There's a couple in that same category, but they shut down at one point. They shut down. Jimenez Firearms shut down. They came back as JA Arms, and that's what the ATF went after them. I guess they were sued, by like we saw in Chicago and elsewhere, saying, "Well, your guns keep ending up in our jurisdiction, and people are using them for crimes. So clearly, Jimenez or JA Firearms is the culprit." ATF went in, took a look, and they say that they shut them down due to some irregularities, but there's been no mention of what it is. We have no idea if this is you forgot to click if you were Hispanic or not Hispanic on the form or not, because let's face it, there's different categories of I checked the wrong block on my 4473. Am I a convicted felon? No is a lot different than I forgot to put if I'm Hispanic or not Hispanic. And that's what ATF is doing recently. They're going out and using that authority given to them under the Biden administration, where it says if there's any omission or error on the form to complete, that there's no difference in severity. So if you're getting a couple of those, they're shutting people down. Again, I have no idea what happened with Jimenez Arms. Somebody alleged they trafficked guns to criminals. Okay, it's not how it works. No FFL traffics guns to criminals. They send them to distributors. They send them to dealers. They go out from there. They do background checks. So it's more to this story. There's more to the story, and this sounds like a win for the anti-gunners, but this might be a win for tyranny, is the way that I'm reading this one, Paul. I think we need to get a little more disclosure out of the ATF here.
To echo the comment that Paul made earlier, I have never, shot one of these firearms, and I don't know, haven't had an opportunity to. I understand it's not well regarded, but there are, presumably people out there for whom this, represents, their option and their opportunity to own a gun, whether it's economic or financial, or just having, access to people who are in that community to make it available. Whether I'm a particular fan of this particular gun or a gun at the other end of the spectrum, I'm all for access to firearms to people who have a desire to exercise, options. And if some of the things that are preventing them from being safe is financial, then there's a room for, these lower end and to some extent lesser quality guns in the market. Whether I personally, would buy one and use one and carry one, that's, to me, that's not really, the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is that cost and expense should not be a barrier to people who wish to protect themselves and their families.
No, you're right, Rick. Yeah. And I see these a lot go for the under $100. They have this guy that I just know at the gun shows. He sells them for under $100 guns. And listen, is it one that I'm going to put in my pocket, or Rick, you're going to put in your pocket? Probably not. But like you said, if somebody walks in and it's their last $50, $75, $100 and they need something to protect themselves, this is the product that's out there for them. Now, it's not the gun you're going to take to the range and shoot every weekend, but it's the one that you make sure it works, and then you keep it on you to keep yourself safe. You're absolutely right.
If I guess my deal is this: if the people using these firearms are criminals, how come they're not being prosecuted? Like, how come they're not going to court? How come they're not being tried for these crimes? And why is it just Chicago and Kansas City? I mean, how come Nevada doesn't have a problem with these firearms if they're making these in Nevada?
Yeah, we're getting some. When the comments have exploded on this, by the way. Let me get some of them in.
Good.
New York Outcast, I'm going to go back to the beginning. New York Outcast says, I refer to those guns as ghetto blasters. He says, probably doesn't help the case. And then Gun Website says, Saturday night specials are non-sporting use. Do not fall for we do not need all guns narrative. They want gun owners to repost with this tactic of attacking low-end manufacturers. And then M. Gabriel says, weren't they accused of shipping to that guy, firefighter/police, that was not an FFL? The news story.
I don't recall the story. Yeah, I don't recall the story.
News story I had didn't mention that. And then you can see here. Let me find some more comments about it.
Listen, I'll say this too. Having been an FFL, still an FFL, you'll run into that. You'll run into somebody who claims to be the at least police part, and maybe if they're public servant, public service officer, where they do both of them. And you'll get, I'm a cop, you could send it to me, and depending on listen, some states have gun laws where it says the cops don't have to take the background check, so they think that means you can ship them a firearm across state lines. It doesn't. You've got to spend time educating people. But then some of them will come up with some very convincing arguments to some dealers that, maybe even ask their local ATF reps, and they tell them, okay, it's all right, and find out. So I could see something like that occurring, and people getting wrist slapped for it. So that's interesting, though. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at and see if that ever happened with Jimenez or JA.
Yeah.
Another thing is, if it wasn't so in the states where you have to take classes and you have to pay for permits, sometimes it is ridiculous for the cost of not just the cost of a class, but by the time you add up the cost of a class and then the cost for a license and then a cost for a firearm and ammunition, and in Massachusetts, most of the ranges are private ranges. There's only a few public ranges, and you have to become a member at this range, and sometimes that's a couple $100, and then the gun you're going to buy is going to be $500 or $600, and then you gotta take the class. Sometimes, the less expensive permits are, it's like $63 for a Utah permit, $100 for a license in Massachusetts. I think in Illinois it's about $250 to get a permit in Illinois, on top of having the FOID card. You got to get the carry permit. This a lot of times this puts people out of the price range of being able to afford it, and just like telling people, say, hey, listen, gas is going up, go buy a Tesla. Like, that's crazy talk. Oh, you need a gun? You got to spend $1,800 on a 1911 on a race gun. Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
That's exactly right.
Well, yeah, high prices is just another form of gun control. Just call it for what it is. If people can't afford the actual tool, then obviously they can't exercise that right. And yeah, for many people, the cost of training is going to be an issue. And, I am sympathetic to that in spite of being a firearms instructor. But, here's the thing. Though I engage in the act of people for hire, I am still a devout gun rights advocate, and I push and pursue constitutional carry. If that's what we feel the Second Amendment means, then let's make it actually happen. Let's make it a reality. Common sense dictates that a reasonable person acquiring a firearm will make sure that they're safe with it, and one way or another they'll seek out training and they'll receive it.
Very true.
One last comment I want to bring up by New York Outcast, and the comments are still just screaming through, and I'm not going to be able to get them all. New York Outcast says criminals are always going to go for cheap, easy-to-hide gun. It's not the gun's fault. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they're going to commit a crime and throw the gun away, and then want to replace it so they can use another gun, and then use another gun in a crime after that, I mean, no one's going to want to spend $1,800 on a gun where you're going to net, I don't know, $700 or $800 worth of loot or cash, and then buy another gun to. That's a losing proposition.
Right.
Listen, no criminals are going in and filling out a 4473 to get guns, big or small. Their only choice is when they steal 3 or 4 out of a car, which one goes in the back pocket and which one goes in the waistband.
Right. So,
Pete over at Gun Websites wants to know, question for Charlie, is it possible to teach a Utah CCW class over the internet, or does the instructor need to be on location? I think he's looking to be on Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
That's a great question, G-Webs. I am a Utah instructor. I had 2 Utah classes last weekend, and I have one up in New Hampshire tomorrow. You do have to do the Utah class in person. And what I do is I set people up with 2 sets of fingerprint cards. I set them up with the application stamped and signed, and they do have to get a photocopy of their driver's license. They have to get a passport photo, which AAA does for free if you're a AAA member. And then if your home state has reciprocity with Utah, you have to have your home state carry permit before you get the Utah carry permit. Utah is easy. It really is. I know people talk about the Utah versus Florida, and my thing is this: Florida gets you New Mexico, but not Washington State, and Utah gets you Washington State, but not New Mexico. Other than that, they're the same. Utah is $63.25. I want to say Florida's $97. To renew your Utah permit is a whopping $25, and to renew the Florida permit, I think, is $87. So to me, I get people talk about the Florida permit and the Utah permit, and it depends on if you want to go to Florida. So I teach Utah classes like they're I don't want to say like they're going out of style, but and they might be going out of style, but I teach them on a regular basis at a few different places out here in New England.
I do want to get one last story, and we're coming up. We got 7 minutes left of the show. I want to get one more story that we talk about. And Ohio, there was some flimflammery, I want to say, and Ohio was leading the nation in armed teachers, and then there was a bill that snuck through. And to be an armed teacher in Ohio, all of a sudden you had to go through the same amount, actually much more training than a police officer had to go through. Now it looks like there's a bill going through the Ohio legislature that would actually drop that down to where the teachers would be able to go through a reasonable amount of training, and Ohio would be able to get armed teachers back in the schools again. That legislation is moving through the Ohio legislature fairly rapidly, and I'm really hoping that gets pushed through, and the governor has said he will sign it.
I was in Ohio when this passed, and I was there with some of our friends and colleagues doing a Faster Saves Lives class, which gears towards teaching educators how to be safe with a firearm, how to shoot, how to do first aid, and go through some scenario training. And I remember when this came out, I filmed a show with somebody who was from Faster Saves Lives and from Ohio. my attitude is this: if you're going to make the teachers go through whatever it is, 600 or 700 hours of training, so they can become a police officer and do all of the police officer requirement training, just so they can carry a gun out of school, I say give the teachers a badge and let them carry in school. And when they find some kids that are carrying, that are drinking or that have some pot, cuff them and stuff them, man. Like, if they're going to make them go through all of this stuff to be a police officer, give them a badge at the end.
Amen. And when the teacher next door is lighting up a little bit of something they shouldn't, cuff them and stuff them too.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're
this was a Charlie, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just to reiterate it again, if you're going to make them do what the police need to do, let them be a police. Give them a badge.
This was a dirty deal by law enforcement executives in that state. This was on the way rolling. By the way, if you look at the new standards, like Charlie was just pointing out from Faster Saves Lives, there, the new qualifications that they use for teachers to carry are basically the Faster Saves Lives qualifications. So that's gained incredible respect and acceptance around the region and the country. But this was law enforcement executives, and I won't call them cops because they're not. These are the guys that sit up there and or gals that sit up there and behind the desk, and they're politicians, and they're liberal, and these are the ones that say, "Oh, we can't have this because there'll be mass shootings in the street. It'll be like the Old West. We'll have shootings at every gas station. Only law enforcement can carry guns. Only law enforcement can carry guns." That sounds like tyranny to me. Those sound like tyrants. This is not the attitude you get from the beat cops, from the patrol guys, from the guys that are and women that are out there working the street every day, including the paramedics and the firemen, because they're in on this also with the faster training as far as the medical comes to life. So I again just want to come to the defense of the street cops who love those people that support the Second Amendment, because guess who's closer usually when they need a backup? It's that Second Amendment carrier right there, and we see those stories every day. Second Amendment carrier saves law enforcement officer. So ignore that. Listen, we just saw one get flushed away right in Indiana, right? The Indiana police director up there didn't want to see it pass, so he went up there and made up a bunch of stats as well. And before it got flushed and became constitutional carry there.
Well, and he was, by the way, the governor's appointee, and the governor said, "Yeah, I'm going to sign it anyway."
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead, Charlie.
The score for the Faster Saves Lives, in order to pass the Faster Saves Lives and get the Faster Challenge coin, the score is a perfect score in order to pass it. And we have some of our friends and colleagues that was 1 point behind, and they tried to do it the second time, and they didn't make the qualification the second time. So in order to do in order to pass the Faster Saves Live class, you have a perfect score, and that's higher than what the police standard is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, one last comment, and then I think we need to start shutting this down. We've only got a couple minutes left, but get this one up there. New York Outcast says, "I'd rather see police removed from schools. Every little thing doesn't require police actions. Teachers, like anyone, should have the ability to be armed for the worst case, in my opinion." Right there with you, bud. Right there with you.
Well, no, hold on. You're saying Paul, you'd rather see police officers removed from schools?
Rather than, what I would say is, I'd rather see armed teachers than just if I had a choice.
Listen, I know what you meant. I want to give you the opportunity. Listen, they supplement each other. The one law enforcement officer still needs to be there to do the things like Charlie said. Get rid of the pot smokers and the beer drinkers. I don't know where you went to school, Charlie, but it sounds fun. So they still need to be there. They still need to be there to do that. But those teachers are there for that first line of defense, and that's great. And I think together as a team, it really works.
There you go.
So I've got two things to say. One is, let's face it, when your kids are at school, the teachers have your kids' lives in their hands, regardless of whether or not they're carrying a firearm. And if you think that the teachers are going to be crazy enough that if the kids don't come in from recess, they're going to start firing rounds off in the air, then you might not be smart enough to own a firearm yourself.
Exactly.
And the second thing is, I know this story just came in before we started, but Charlie Cook is actually a firearm instructor.
Yeah, but in Utah. So,
Oh, jeez.
All right. As we do.
Exhausting.
as we do at the close of every show, I want to go around the horn and Charlie, dude, if you would, what's going on with Riding Shotgun with Charlie? What do you want to plug, man?
Please check out writingshotgunwithcharlie.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can watch all the shows on YouTube, on Gunstreamer. I put out a show this week with a couple guys that made their faces. They put their faces out. They're podcast guys. Finally put a face to the names and the voices. They're called The Gun Experiment, and we had a great conversation in upstate New York. I've got a show on Tuesday with Matt Mallory, and we're having Kevin Dixie on. We're doing that live on youtube.com/writingshotgunwithcharlie. And going to be having an article coming out soon on armed lifestyle. So that's what I got going. I'm just trying to keep up with all you guys and just stay in the good graces of Rick and Tony and Brooke and Kevin.
All right, Rick. Go ahead if you want to plug the trade. If you want to plug Legally Armed in Detroit, what do you want to plug, man?
Man, I'm singularly plugging firearms instructors and range safety officers coming to Detroit to help me train a lot of women how to be safe operators of firearms. The event that I am pushing for is the 11th annual free shooting event for women. I haven't started promoting that event. What I am actively doing is courting and inviting firearms instructors and range safety officers to come to my attention because they want the program to train women in a weekend. Get a hold of me, whether you call me by phone or whether you come out to my Facebook page, facebook.com, Detroit CCW, Detroit CCW on YouTube, Detroit CCW on Twitter. However you want to reach me, contact me. Let's connect and let's get you set up to come to Detroit to help train and empower a ton of women.
Very cool. Gun website says, wait, are you saying Charlie instructs? Mike, dude, what do you want to plug today, man?
Listen, of course, I want to plug, let's see the rundown. Make sure you check us out at 5 p.m. Eastern times during the week. The anchor that started it all, Arms Room Radio, 3 to 5 p.m. on Saturdays. Charlie, if you get your instructor license, reach out to Rick. He needs help with instructors in Detroit. And as well, please watch Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right.
If I didn't love you guys, I would really think you hated me. I mean, right down the list: G. Webbs, Brooke, Tony, Kevin. Who else? Who else did I miss? Rick. Holy moly, man! We're going to put John Anderson in there as well.
You brought this on yourself, man. You know, having to take your daughter to college. Oh God. She's growing up, Charlie. She's growing up, man.
Charlie does not only teach in Utah. I teach in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and all over the place, man.
All right. Well, on my part, I want to encourage everybody, come join us at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, every day for the Bullet, for the weekday edition. And then on the weekend edition, of course, at noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, everybody, for commenting. We've had well over 100 comments. Obviously, I could only get a few of them in. And admittedly, most of them I thought were funny because they bashed Charlie. So, but thank you, everybody, for joining in, for watching, for commenting. And we will see you next time. Thanks again, everybody.